We're here at Peak 2026, and I have the privilege of sitting next to Brian Alkire from SportsTech HQ, who is one of our Peak partners, headline partners here at Peak 2026. Brian, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to jump into this. SportsTech HQ is doing some incredible work here in Indiana. I just have to ask, what is the core mission driving the organization for you guys?
Yeah, we have a pretty clear belief that Indiana is not only an affordable place to scale a tech company, but if you're a sports tech founder, there's probably no other place in the United States that we believe you should be doing it.
Yep.
Indiana has for more than 40 years reinvested and invested in our sports infrastructure as a state, and that goes back to having the nation's first ever sports commission. We made a commitment as a state and as a community that we wanted to bring in world-class events.
Yep.
And that started, a mission some 40 years ago. We were the first ever city and state in the United States that had a sports commission that set out with an agenda like that. And flash forward 40 years later, our newest vertical and our newest goal and mission is to become a global hub for sports technology. Yeah. We do that in a couple different ways, one of which is that we attract some of the world's most promising and exciting sports tech startups from around the world. And we attract them to bring their headquarters to Indiana.
Yeah.
And then the second part, which is what I spend a lot of my time doing, leading our events and marketing, is then figuring out how we activate that ecosystem.
Yep.
And that's what I think really makes Indiana unique, is that we have, over that 40-year time, what started as something that happened in events has since evolved. We have not only world-class events, we have world-class facilities. We have a university infrastructure that's powering the next generation of talent for these companies. Think about Notre Dame, Indiana University, Purdue University, one of the top engineering schools in the world. And then we combine that with the sports businesses that call Indiana home. For those who have been to Indiana, good chance it's probably been for a motorsports event.
Yeah,
we're known for the Indiana 500.
Yeah.
We're the racing capital of the world.
Yeah.
And so, of course, we have dozens and dozens of motorsports teams, but in the last 40 years, we've been able to bring in not just motorsports, but national governing bodies like USA Track and Field. USA Gymnastics has just committed to build a $100 million plus performance center based in Indiana. So we're excited by them. We're excited about USA Football and the emergence of flag football. So it's a happening place. It's not only the center of where sport is going to be in the United States, but it's also where we believe sports tech is going to grow and flourish as well.
That's a heck of a line. We should definitely use that again. But I'm going to go back to your first point about, the additions that you make. And you've called the recent addition of the British startup, I believe, AI.io, as a game-changing win. So, talk to me about what is the secret sauce that makes this Indiana collection, such an attractive launchpad for international founders?
Yeah, we've been around for about 2 years at SportsTech HQ, and we've been a part of a lot of awesome rooms, conversations around sports tech. Yeah. And the one piece that we thought was missing from the puzzle, at least in the United States, was a dedicated team that was there 24/7 to help activate an ecosystem, not just for a 3-month program or 6-month program, but is there 365 days a year. And we have a dedicated team, the only organization or team like us in the United States that is dedicated to helping them grow. So for AI.io, what I think was really the secret sauce for them was having innovation showcase series, which we run. I can talk about a little later. But it was also just some of those entities that were there. I just mentioned world-class facilities.
Exactly.
For AI.io, a big part of that was youth sports. The youth sports days. How much time here are we talking about youth sports at Peak, right?
Yeah.
I've heard a couple panels already about that. And so we're lucky in Westfield, Indiana, to have the world's largest youth sports facility.
Okay.
Largest youth sports facility in the United States.
Right.
And more than 5 million people come to Grand Park Sports Campus. That's now the Droplight facility here in Indiana. And for AI.io, that was, there's no better place to build a North American innovation center than at the the largest youth sports facility in the United States. So we're really excited to have them as part of our ecosystem going forward.
I'm sure they're equally excited.
I hope so.
Yeah. Definitely. But they're not the only one, right? You guys have you're working closely with over 40 sports tech organizations, if I'm right. And look around you, you're surrounded by thriving startups. What would you say is the common strategies that they're using?
Yeah, well, they're present. That's helpful, right? You're building, we're operating in a world post-COVID and post the pandemic that, everybody was just gone to the coast before, right?
Sure.
And you were in person, and now we have an age of remote work that's allowed, companies, not just sports tech, but any kind of tech startup to scale in a way they never could before. That's a huge positive. But I think what we have seen and where we've seen traction is that companies are there in person and able to scale and make these connections in person and grow with the organizations and clients.
Yep.
So it's not just selling to them, it's working with them, identifying a problem statement and growing together. So being able to develop a pilot program and be able to actually on the ground facilitate some of these relationships and develop them over a long period of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not at one conference for one time. We want to create multiple connection points over the course of, a relationship and hopefully a long partnership in Indiana.
100%, maybe a long partnership with Peak as well. But coming back to the cutting edge developments, happening every single day, I have to ask you to look into your, global ball for the next 2-3 years. What specific sector of sports tech, I should say, are you personally most excited about?
Well, youth sports. I mean, I won't go back to that just because I just said that, but I mean, obviously it's just exploding, right?
Yeah.
For all the buzz and excitement there is around some of the big logos and professional teams that a lot of the companies here at Peak have been talking about.
Yep.
The youth sports space is just a massively untapped market. I mentioned that. I'd pick women's sports.
Okay.
We have a vision in Indiana for what we want our state to look like from a sports landscape in the next 25 years. It's called our 2050 vision. Sports tech is one of those verticals, but women's sports is another one.
Yeah.
And so we see a lot of collaboration with that vertical and that mission. Technology has not really been largely created for women and girls in sports, right?
Yep.
It's largely created for male-driven sports and boys, and then it's just applied to women. And the emergence of women's sports, and I mean, look, we're seeing it in Indiana with the Indiana Fever. I don't know.
There we go. Yeah.
Caitlin Clark, I mean, is certainly one of the faces that's driving that movement. And with that's going to come a lot of advantages that we think currently aren't in the marketplace. And so we're seeing a lot. The Indiana Fever building a world-class, going to be one of the best performance centers in the WNBA in downtown Indianapolis. It's about halfway done right now. I just saw it when I was taking off for Peak to come to Vegas. I saw it out my plane window, and it's up in structure and is going to be open soon. And then another call out to a project that's happening in northern Indiana called Marvella. Marvella is going to be the first dedicated youth sports facility for women and girls in sports.
Right.
So there's some fascinating statistics about what women leaders, C-suite executives in any kind of industry, I think it's like, I don't want to misquote it, but there's a very large percentage who grew up playing competitive sports.
Yep.
And so Marvella is going to be a facility where, the mom and dad can bring the kids for a youth sports tournament on the weekend, but in between the 3 games you might have over the weekend, they'll have dedicated classes and curriculum on site to where you can learn about other aspects of sport besides just playing it. Do you want to learn about a career in sport? Do you want to grow in the psychology of sport? And so we're the official innovation partner for that facility, and we're excited to integrate a lot of our ecosystem into that too.
Oh, that's awesome. And I think I have to ask, as headline sponsor for Peak 2026, before we let the people pass over, what is the number one thing you want them to know about SportsTech HQ and your overall experience about Peak?
Yeah, I mean, we have one of the largest concentrations of sports tech in the United States. I don't think people would assume that of Indiana, right? You think Boston, you think New York. Look, there's sports tech happening there. But what's unique about Indiana is that we have a dedicated team, like I mentioned, that wakes up every day and tries to figure out how we can help sports tech companies specifically grow and scale that are in our community. We launched last year our Innovation Showcase series. We started partnering with rights holders who had come into our state for big events. So 2 weeks ago, we ran a tech summit with the NCAA and AT&T. And we bring these awesome properties to our state. We bring people from all around the world to Indiana. It's not just, we're growing it in this community because we believe in it and it's collaborative, but we're bringing world-class events and people from all around the world, just like we're here at Peak, to Indiana, to these events. And that would be one thing I'd really want people to know, is that it's not just a place where you can grow and scale. It's where we're going to bring people from all around the world. We're dedicated, and we want to basically be the convener and connector with decision makers and innovators and bring them into one room. So we're really excited about it. It's only been 2 years that we've been around. We've had unbelievable growth. About 20 companies joined our collective just last year. So we're really excited for the road ahead.
Yeah, so are we. 20 to 200. Well, thank you so much, Brian, for your time.
Yeah, thanks.
This has been great.
Appreciate it.